It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful peeps. Thank you so much for tuning in for what has been an awesome morning. How good was Craig Lucas, man?
Wow. We are all still recovering from that performance.
So take a breath. Let's get into something a little bit more serious. It's that time of the week where we chat all things health and wellness. And today's topic is focused on those bean-shaped little lumps on either side of your spine that filter your blood, keeping it healthy and clean. I know I've really generalized there. I'm talking about, of course, the kidneys. And joining us is our regular doc on the chair, Dr. Darren Green.
Morning.
How you, Doc? What's up, Doc?
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you, sir. So let's kickstart by asking the question, what are the indicators to know that my kidneys are healthy and are functioning properly? How do I know?
100%. So you need to know what they do, and what they do is they create urine. They filter your body of all its waste products. They also regulate blood pressure. They're involved with hormone production to produce red blood cells, to look at bone health, etc. as well. So they've got many functions. So you'd notice when those things are out of check, your blood pressure won't be correct. So one of the causes of blood pressure that is either too low or too high can be related to kidney function. So that's the first thing. Secondly, you don't produce enough urine. You might have a decreased output of urine because the filters that filter the urine and get rid of the excess water and so forth obviously aren't working. And then all those waste products that are building up in the blood, that whether they are electrolyte imbalances or actually toxins, will make you develop symptoms like fatigue, drowsiness, tiredness, etc. And then you start swelling as well because you can't get rid of excess water and fluids. So you start swelling and looking like a puff pastry.
Wow. Okay, so now we've covered the negative side of that. Something I've got to ask, okay, and maybe I'm going to be debunking vitamins and their use.
Yes.
But why does your urine turn like bright, luminous yellow when you have a multivitamin? Does that mean we are not taking in any of that vitamin, or what's going on there?
No. Even when you inject basically a vitamin into a drip in terms of an injectable form, like vitamin B specifically, you'll see that it's yellow. The actual molecule itself
You even
is
taste
yellow.
it when it's been
injected. Correct, into the muscle, you can actually taste it. But generally, the color itself of the actual vitamin involves a yellow tinge to it, and that's why. So that's why when you have excess vitamins and your body can't absorb them all, they end up in the urine. It can only absorb so much in a specific time period, so you often pay for too much and get rid of the rest.
Yeah. So what role does water play in all of this, in this whole system?
A few roles. I mean, water is part of blood, and you need water in the blood so the blood can actually flow. Otherwise, blood would be too thick in terms of... Exactly. So you need water to keep that viscosity correct. You also need water to get the right balance of your electrolytes, your sodium, your potassium, your calcium, so that they can move across the membranes through specialized cells and filters, etc., and get where they're supposed to be going. You also need water because you need, obviously, your blood pressure retained. Remember, when your blood pressure is low, your body holds onto water through the kidneys, and it does some incredible things with those filters to hold onto it, so that your blood volume can stay high and keep up the blood pressure.
Wow.
How much water? What is the ideal amount of water to be drinking, and can we drink too much?
Yeah, so according to your body weight and muscle mass, that's how the kidney function, filtration rates are actually worked out. So the fluid requirements in children will be different to those in an adult, depending on your body size. But adults generally, adult male, for example, needs about 2 to 2.5 liters of water a day.
Wow.
Your kidneys filter 180 liters a day.
180 liters.
So that when the blood's circulating, you've got a blood volume of about 8 liters, and that keeps circulating the good things out. The bad things out, the good things in. And it keeps circulating. So the actual filtration speed is like 180 liters
Machines.
Yeah.
That's a little machine down there, man. Love
Fascinating stuff. All right, we'll be back again with Dr. Darren Green very shortly to talk more about kidney health, especially what the causes of kidney failure might be. Stay tuned for that.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, back again with Dr. Darren Green in the hot seat. Today's health topic, kidney health, how to keep them healthy. In fact, we have a caller on the line right now. Michelle, good morning. You can go right ahead with your question.
Hi, good morning. Hope you're all well this morning.
Yes, we are indeed.
I have a question. I have terrible edema. I swell up from head to toe, face, hands, feet, everywhere. And I have all the signs of kidney problems like dry mouth, scratchy skin, all the symptoms. But been to the doctor, done all the blood tests, and they all come back perfect. So what else can it be?
All right,
Dr.
Dr.
It's
Green.
quite broad, but give it a
Let's
shot.
start at the top of the head. And
Thanks,
move down.
Michelle, yeah.
No, so if you've got generalized body swelling and edema and retention of fluid, firstly, is it fluid you're retaining or is there soft tissue swelling? There's a difference between edema and just connective tissue swelling. There are other things that can be affected, things like the simple things like albumin and the protein involved in the liver that actually binds to fluid and transports it across membranes. So you would look also not only at kidney function, you'd look at liver function, you'd look at the heart. There are many things. Even something as simple as a thyroid condition that involves the hormones can be involved. One would look at your entire history and look at medications that you've been taking. One of the things that make people look Cushingoid, we call it, swollen, is simple the use of prednisone or steroids over a long period of time. And that can affect your hormone profile and then also the retention. So see an endocrinologist is where I would suggest you start because they look at the effects of the different hormones on the body and the interlinked, obviously, effect of that with the different systems.
Yeah.
Either that or a really good physician. And if he thinks it's necessary with the basic screening, he'll refer you on. I've seen people with generalized swelling that ended up having something, a benign thing in the pituitary gland, for example, in the brain. So the causes are so vast of swelling. It's not a specific symptom of kidney failure, and I think that's important to raise that.
Yes.
So remember that. Yeah.
All right, and just like our caller right now, you can give us a call on 021 4309 881. You were talking about causes.
Yeah,
Let's talk about
kidney failure.
Yeah. Let's go to the extreme here.
So you get acute and you get chronic. In the acute phase, obviously things are like toxins or poisons that you might have ingested. In endurance athletes and our marathon runners, one of the big things are called ATN, or acute tubular necrosis. Those tubules in the kidneys that filter the urine, etc., are affected because people take anti-inflammatories. And when you're dehydrated and not getting enough fluid and you're taking anti-inflammatories, the chemical anti-inflammatories actually damage those tubes. So we've got toxins, we've got medications, we've also got a decreased blood supply. Anything that causes a decreased blood supply to the kidney can lead to kidney failure. That includes things like having, obviously, septic shock, having a heart attack where the blood can't be pumped to the kidney, etc. So there are a vast array. And then there are obviously things like infections. A simple bladder infection that's not treated can ascend from the bladder via the tubes, the ureters, all the way to the kidneys and cause scarring and damage to the kidneys over a long period of time if you don't treat it properly. And then kidney stones. If those tubes that drain from the kidneys with the urine that lead into the bladder, if those stones block the ureter, the kidney is going to swell up. It's called hydronephrosis, and it can even explode if you don't treat it. And then you have permanent damage that could be irreversible to that kidney if you don't remove the obstruction. So kidney stones, blockage, infections, there are quite a few.
All right, so we're going to get into a couple more things that affect our kidneys, but start looking at how to maintain healthy kidneys after the break. And if you've got any questions at all, 021 430 9881. I'm trying to avert my gaze from the size of these stones, but we'd love to hear from you. And again, thanks to Michelle for raising that very important question. We'll continue in a sec.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
A very good morning. Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Medical Tuesday and Health Chats with Dr. Darren Green, and kidney health is our main focus this morning. Hilton from Johannesburg is on the line. Good morning, Hilton. You can go right ahead.
Morning, Doctor.
Morning, man.
I tell you what, I've had kidney stones twice.
Whoa.
And believe me, it's no joke. I tell you what, they've always said to me, I don't drink enough water. I do drink a fair amount of water, but maybe not enough. I also battle with gout, and that is acid related. And they said to me the last time that I would have the flowers, they called them flowers, were already growing in my kidneys. How does one overcome this? I have tried alkaline powder, which I don't know if it's good, bad. Can you help me?
Thank you so much, Hilton, for
fantastic
sharing that
question.
question.
Yeah, so kidney stones are a real problem. Why do people get kidney stones? Some people have a genetic predisposition. Some people's metabolism and the byproducts of metabolism, like an increased level of uric acid, which he has, also can lead to urate stones being formed. So you get three main types of stones and a few others, but the common ones are are urate stones. And then you get calcium and oxalate. So you get combination of those. And if you look at those stones, that's 1 millimeter in size, 2 millimeters in size, and that's what the stones look like. The urate crystals of the stone obviously then form when the uric acid levels in the body are too high. The different ways of treating that, obviously with medication that you take daily, changing your diet is something that people forget. You can't just take tablets for gout, medication. Food is medicine, and you can change your profile of your pH and the formation of uric acid in the blood and in your body by eating the correct type of foods.
Yes.
So it's worth consulting a dietitian for that.
Is it
For
as simple
certain
as that?
types of stones, so not always. So alkalizing the urine often prevents organisms growing in it because they love certain environments, acidic environments sometimes as well, depending on the organism, to grow and cause infection, which then could also contribute to this.
Yeah.
So it's quite a balance,
Can you
you know.
test your body's pH to prevent something like this? How do you
The
prevent
urine
it
you can
altogether?
test quite easily. The actual, the urine dipstick test that they do at your typical pharmacy can also tell you whether it's acidic and so forth. That can then give you an indication as to what your diet's doing and also what your fluid intake is doing.
Yeah.
And that's quite important.
Considering just what we've just heard from Hilton, and it sounds like quite a painful process to go through, especially
Stones.
when you've had them
Yeah.
twice. What are some of the lifestyle changes that one could look out for and that you need to change in order to ensure that you don't develop, especially if you're genetically predisposed and you're
100%.
trying to just minimize those chances?
I think often once you've had one set of imaging, if you have stones depicted there in the kidney, in the calyx or the pelvis of the kidney, you know that they're there, but you're not always symptomatic from those. Not all stones that are demonstrated and seen in the kidney get removed, by the way. Only if they're symptomatic or can lead to long-term damage, depending on where they are in the kidney. So those are sometimes that if they move down, then they cause symptoms. What you can do is modify your diet, as I mentioned firstly, looking at the right diet to decrease uric acid. Look also at your fluid intake, as is done. Exercise is also proven useful for good kidney health because exercise improves the heart. The heart improves, obviously, the blood supply to the kidney, so you have then better outcomes in terms of that as well. And there is definitely an association also with things like smoking and kidney function. The two big killers of kidneys are hypertension, high blood pressure, and diabetes, which are both lifestyle diseases. The two right at the top that we can actually do something about.
Oh, and they feed into just about every aspect of health. Absolutely love that. Thanks, Doctor.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, back again with Dr. Darren Green for our medical chat on a Tuesday. We had a call from Chazelle who said that she had kidney issues for quite a while and then started drinking cranberry juice diluted with water, and that seemed to help. Is that
Well, we know that cranberry juice is useful for people with bladder infections.
Yes.
And we mentioned the association with bladder infections and the kidneys, obviously. So what our cranberry juice actually does is it prevents the bugs, the organisms in the bladder from clinging to the bladder wall. So it actually has an effect on helping
to
decrease the
filter them out.
colonization of that. And that's why people say the benefits are. Just remember, however, if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, when you drink cranberry juice, it makes your blood too thin and even thinner, and then you're at high risk of
pressure
bleeding. So that's the population that must be
goodness.
careful of cranberry juice. Yeah.
We hear dialysis obviously mentioned in the kidney kind of arena so often. At what point do you go on to dialysis and what actually happens there?
Yeah, so you get degrees of kidney failure, the different stages in the acute phase, and then you try and reverse the damage that's occurred. When it doesn't, there's scarring and so forth. And depending on your control of your hypertension and your diabetes, you go through phases of losing a greater percentage of the filtering cells in the kidney. When you've lost, obviously, a considerable amount and your kidney function is so poor that you can't keep the fluid balance as correct, and you can't keep the electrolytes or the ions balance, the sodium, potassium, and you develop the clinical effects of swelling, and obviously discomfort, breathing heavily with fluid overload in the lungs even. That's when you would need to move across. We use obviously certain values in terms of the lab tests and so forth as well. But then you need a machine to filter the blood for you, and that's what dialysis is. A dialysis catheter will be inserted, either peritoneal dialysis or a catheter in the other veins in the arm. And then the blood will be taken out, will move through a machine that does the function of the kidney, and then it's put back into the body.
Yeah. One of the wonderful things about the body is that it performs miracles sometimes, that even though you have a kidney removed, it is still able to function with one kidney. But how
Correct.
well does the body function with one kidney?
Well,
it
people lead
compensates,
completely normal lives. The
Yeah.
other kidney compensates. And then you have to be extremely careful with your lifestyle decisions.
Then, yeah.
Obviously, of looking after that kidney, being vigilant. If there are any warning signs of that system being involved, go and see to it early, obviously.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Wow. Dr. Darren Green, always a pleasure to have you in the studio
Thank
to
you.
educate us on all these health matters. And thanks so much for all our callers as well, sharing
man,
your
some amazing
stories with us.
questions, yeah.
And of course, we will be doing this again next week. Have a good week, sir.
Thank you.
And
You
thank
too.
you for our kidneys, man. I feel blessed to have two
Very
healthy
much.
kidneys.
Good boys,
Well
good
done,
boys.
guys. Well done. Go team. Go
Give them a
team.
pat.